This is the city. Subhanallah, as you can see, a lot of cables here. So today's video is very noisy outside, but I still decided to talk about this because it is important. The topic is important. I'm gonna be actually walking around because again, the noise can be really annoying. The reason I want to make this video is to talk to you guys about the situation in Pakistan right now. By the way, this is my room where this is actually not a room. This is actually a makeshift room for really temporary accommodation. So again, the noise is very bad, so I'm just walking here. What is happening right now in Pakistan, it is something very unfortunate, but subhanallah, we have good news, and at the same time we have some bad news, some news that I want to share with you. As the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we want to stick together in one Jama'ah, keep each other informed about what is happening, so that inshallah we are not misguided, we are not being led astray by the Dajjalic system, because believe it or not, dear brothers and sisters, the Dajjalic system is working 24/7 to lead us astray. So when we are sticking together as a Jama'ah, when we talk about this topic and we derive understanding from Quran and Hadith, then it makes it very easy for us to, inshallah, to stick to the right path. What is happening in Pakistan and the coming of the Mahdi, this is what I want to talk to you about today. Imran Khan, his leadership now being voted out as a totally hopeless case for the Pakistani parliament. They are seeing no hope. In other words, in Imran Khan's leadership, they are saying, again, this is according to the politician in Pakistan, they are saying we don't see Imran Khan doing anything for the country. Rather, he is going to actually ruin the economy, which he did, according to them again. This is what they have alleged. And so they said, we have no confidence in him, let's get rid of him. The situation is not as bad. You might think, well, this is the end of the world. But wallahi, the situation is not as bad as it will be in the future because of the prophecy. Again, as I said, I'll talk to you about the end of time. Right now, we have seen leaders in many countries, once they are out, then they are being replaced. Sometimes the leaders who are being thrown out of office, sometimes they face jail, sometimes they are being killed, or sometimes they are being spared. It is very inconsistent. So depending on the political system, the political environment of a country, the leader can be persecuted, the leader can face severe consequences and face no justice, and people will just take that leader's life. This is all depending on the situation, the political situation, or what the leader did. But when we talk about the coming of the Mahdi, now first thing that I want to answer, inshallah, in this video, before I talk more about this leadership struggle, I want to talk to you about the question that I said I will answer, which is Imran Khan's government was set up by the Dajjalic system, or was it something that was formed based on pure faith, obedience to Allah Azza wa Jalla and His Messenger? The answer to that question, it is not very direct. The government that Pakistan had before Imran Khan, we could say about them that these people are, what we have seen, I don't know, I'm not an expert in Pakistani politics, but what we have seen on the news, we can say quite emphatically that the Pakistani government, these politicians, they were very corrupt. So if we ask this question to to answer whether the Pakistani government is a Dajjalic setup, we can say, looking at previous governments, we can say those people perhaps they were influenced by this Dajjalic system directly. But since Imran Khan came to power in Pakistan, things have changed. We have seen him how dedicated he was to his faith. Even though I personally don't agree with what he follows in terms of Islam, I think his wife is his peer, something like that. I don't know, but at least he was somebody who was close to Islam. He wanted to make this whole world a better place for the Muslims. Okay, we can say good things about Imran Khan for doing that. And subhanallah, he went to the UN and he talked about the Palestinian issue. He talked about many other things that Muslims are facing, even France, what is happening there. He spoke out. So if you take a look at Pakistan, the country is not very, very powerful economically, but because the leader was very, very strict and very, very courageous, he was able to speak out against oppression against the Muslims. So in that sense, Imran Khan was really the best choice for the Pakistani people, and also for Muslims like you and me. We should be happy that he at least did some good. But again, coming to when it comes to his own faith, his way of practicing, I don't agree. And I think we need to have a deeper look into who he really is, how he practices Islam in his private life. But that's something we can discuss in a separate video. So when we ask this question, is Imran Khan's government is part of the Dajjalic system? As I said, the answer is not very, very clear. It's not cut and dry. It is rather a little bit, I would say treacherous, as Rasulullah he prophesies. Sayati ala nasi zamanun sanawatun khadda. Rasulullah said, remember the hadith, I said this before. A time will come for the people, years of treachery. When Imran Khan came to power, it was not very, very clear what he really wanted to accomplish. I could have said Imran Khan's government did really a good job, and I would have supported him 100% had he not sided with China. Okay, what is happening with the Chinese Uyghur Muslims? Imran Khan, he said, we found no evidence of mistreatment of these Uyghur Muslims, which is why I am reluctant to give him the passing mark, because you have to love the entire ummah for who it is and not pick and choose. I'm going to be loving Palestinian brothers more and less Egyptian brother, or more Saudi brother, less Qatari brother. No, we are part of the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so we have to love for that reason, not because he's from this country, that country. So when Imran Khan, he decided, what, Chinese Muslim, we can just forget about them. I mean, this is how I felt, a kind of like a betrayal, that, don't talk about China, but talk about France, talk about what is happening in Kashmir and whatnot. Then I was like, no, I'm not going to give Imran Khan passing mark. So the question is, again, as I said, is he part of the Dajjalic system, his government? Very, very confusing. I would say even a little bit, he's like the way they made their foreign policies a little bit convoluted, okay, a little bit convoluted for the reason that they were not very, very clear. They were designed, the Pakistani foreign policies, to give an impression to the rest of the world that they are very, very independent. They don't, have to take permission from US or, Europe to make policies, foreign policies. But again, when it comes to China, Imran Khan's government failed, so I'm not going to give him a passing mark. However, I should say that the Dajjalic system that we're living in today right now, it was not happy. Imran Khan in power was not happy because his relationship with Erdogan, his relationship with other Muslim leaders, it was becoming, it was going to a direction that the Dajjalic system would not tolerate, for the fact that Muslims, they do really good. We can do amazing things when we are united. Imran Khan, under his leadership, we have seen how he dealt with Mohammed bin Salman, Erdogan. He dealt with how he dealt with other leaders. Even he, talked about Bangladeshi leadership, and we have seen him talking about unity. He was like, I'm not going to abandon Mohammed bin Salman for what he did, especially with Jamal Khashoggi and whatnot. So he was a man who was not creating division. Okay, at least he was not creating division. Rather, he was very vocal for the Muslim to support the Muslims in living in Europe, in France especially, and at the same time talking about Kashmir issue and whatnot. So he was unifying the Muslim Ummah under some kind of like common ground, But obviously now he's gone, so we do not know what was his end goal or what could have he done more. So that answers the question. And when we talk about coming of Mahdi, the arrival, Imran Khan, and world politics right now, they really have nothing to do with that directly. Okay, directly. They are influenced by the Dajjali system, but when it comes to the Mahdi concept and all that, they are not being influenced directly. Indirectly, they are being shaped, they are being prepared for the end of time. But what I would say is that Pakistan situation the new leadership in Pakistan, it will depend on how they will interact with countries like Russia and China, because now we are seeing the power dynamic, okay, is being shifting. It's pivoting more towards Russia and China and less towards the Western countries, especially for the US. So if Pakistani leadership is supporting, let's say, Putin or China, and they want to keep that distance from US like Imran Khan wanted to, then I would say Pakistan will have a good future and they will be able to create an impact for the Muslims. But on the other hand, if they follow the West and they don't care about the Muslims, and then all of a sudden you find them making progress, doing a lot of new businesses with the West and making economic progress, then it will not be. It will be good temporarily, but for the long term, it is not going to bear good fruits, because we have seen in the past when Pakistan sided with the U.S. and the Western countries, their country have failed miserably. Pakistan's economy suffered, people suffered a lot, so they need to strike a balance. Okay, to say the least, they have to strike a balance, and then it will be better for them. I hope that this situation in Pakistan will change, and that Imran Khan, maybe, I think, personally, I believe Imran Khan will come back to power. That's my belief. But again, something we'll have to wait and see. I have a few comments here. Imam Mahdi 2022, Eagle, Syed Muhammad Saif, Jazakallah khair, Askan, Walaikum Salam, Samiul, don't get jealous, MNH. I will see you, inshallah, brothers, in the next video. Thank you so much for your comments. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.